So this is my new to me 2000 ZRX1100. So why do I want this bike? I saw this bike in Cycle World magazine in 1998. And I've wanted it ever since. A lot of people go for the green, but see, I have a 1980 KZ1000 that I got when I was like 21. I'm in the middle of restoring it now, and that bike is my pride and joy. And this is the upgraded version of that bike. It's got a similar engine. My KZ1000 is a 1980 B2 model, I believe. It's 1,015 cc's. This is, I think, 1,051, something like that. I know my old KZ stock had, I want to say, 96 horsepower. This one, depending on the year and all that kind of stuff, it has anywhere between 106 and a little bit more than that. This one has a stage 1 carburetor kit put on it, so, and a aftermarket exhaust. So this is probably a little bit more than stock, but you have to take some horsepower away from just the age of it. I live in Central Florida. And so this time of year, it's the summertime. It's usually pretty rainy, but today seems to be a really nice day, so I thought I would take the bike out and just kind of talk about it for a minute. So why did I decide on this bike? Kawasaki kind of has a reputation for putting out the same thing over and over again. They came out with the KZ900, I believe in '69. Now, I'm doing all this by memory, so if I'm wrong, I apologize. But they came out with the KZ900 in 1969. My motorcycle, my KZ, is a 1980. I believe they ran the Police 1000 up until after 2000. I want to say 2006 or something, when they finally canceled it. But then in 1999, or 98, I think rather, in the United States, they issued this bike. This is the Kawasaki ZRX1100. And it was a throwback to the old GPZ 1000 or GPZ 1100, which is along this in the same family as the Kawasaki KZ 1000. Recently, in 2018, I believe, Kawasaki imported what looks like the Kawasaki Zephyr, which is what this bike was called in England, and issued it as the Z900RS, the Retro 900. So when I was looking at the two bikes, the Retro 900 has slightly less horsepower than this, although it is lighter. This one has standard forks, as you can see down there. The 900 has inverted forks, so it's a little bit better handling. The 900 has traction control. It also has ABS brakes. This has neither of those. The 900 is fuel injected, and this is carbureted. But this bike, the 0 to 60 time is slightly faster, depending on your source. I've seen everything from 2.9 seconds 0 to 60 to 3.2. And in every instance, the 900RS has a higher 0 to 60 time, by usually a couple of tenths of a second. Again, depending on where you look, this bike has a quarter-mile time of somewhere around 11.6. Sometimes it'll say 11.8. And the 900RS has slightly more than that. It's got like 11.8 to right around 12 seconds, somewhere around there, I believe. Top speed on this is listed stock as about 145 miles an hour. Again, this has a stage 1 kit on it along with aftermarket exhaust, so it might go a little bit faster. I don't know. The 900 has a top speed listed, as I saw it, somewhere between 135 and 140. So across the board, the metrics on this bike are better. I know there's a lot of people that like cruise control, or they like fuel injection better because you don't have to worry about the carburetors and all that kind of stuff, but I'm old school. Like I said, I have an old KZ1000. When I bought it, it had 24,000 miles on it, and as it sits now, it has 90,000 miles on it. So, and all that was putting miles on a bike that was carbureted without having to clean the carbs. It's all in how you take care of it, it's all in how you ride it, and it's all in what you put into it. So, this bike, this particular example, I bought from a gentleman who's the second owner. He cared a lot about what the bike, how the bike ran. He didn't seem to give much attention to how it looked, like all this right here and everything. But that's fine. I got a really good deal on it. This bike only has just over 18,000 miles as it sits now. The other bike I was looking at was more expensive by a decent amount. And it was a little bit more expensive, but it also had more mileage on it, but it looked beautiful. It looked amazing, but it wasn't something that I was willing to pay more for just for better paint. Plus it was green, and I kind of like the black and gray because it matches my KZ. So what are some things that I like and dislike about this? I wasn't expecting the speed. Now, if you're a sport bike guy, if you ride nothing but sport bikes, you're probably laughing at that comment. But on the old KZs, you kind of had to get the RPMs up a little bit to really get any pull out of the bike, any torque out of it. But on this bike, like I'm sitting at 3,000 RPM now, and I can accelerate pretty good. I'm going a little over 50 now. If I was to downshift and accelerate, I could probably lift the front end up. That's not something I'm used to. On the old KZs, the kind of tires I put on, I would leave a black mark on the ground before I would lift the front end up. So I was putting touring tires on it instead of the sport tires, and that makes a big difference, makes a huge difference. So that was the first thing I wasn't used to. Second, even though it doesn't have inverted forks, it still handles way better than the KZ1000 does. The seat is as comfortable as the KZ. On the KZ, your feet are a little bit more underneath you, as opposed to on this one, how they're slightly behind you. My belly's not touching the gas tank, so I'm not laying across the gas tank like you do on some bikes. So it feels a lot like the KZ. A little bit more aggressive. I'm leaning forward a little bit more than I'm used to. But riding position wise, it's not that much off. It's just the acceleration. There are a few things that need to be done to this, but most of it is cosmetic. The tires on it are good. The chain and sprockets seem to be good. I am going to change out this right control handle because I don't like the way the throttle feels. And when I took it apart, the throttle cable was in really good shape, looked brand new. But the way it slides in here, there's a peg that goes into the handlebars that's cracked, and it makes me nervous. So I'm going to replace that. It needs a new windshield. Oh, there's another motorcyclist. It needs a new windshield because this one's cracked in the front. But other than that, it looks really good. If I had to choose again between getting paying, you know, $8,000 to $9,000 for a used Z900RS, or paying, you know, the sub $4,000 I paid for this one, I would buy this one, you know, no question. I don't know that the Z900 is worth twice the price. To me, plus this is a throwback to the old bike. I like my old KZ. The 900, I think, looks more like my KZ. This looks more like a GPZ, which is not the bike I have. But the engine on this looks like it. When I look down and I look at the clutch covers and everything, it reminds me of the old bike. This exhaust doesn't sound like the old bike, but I love the way it sounds. So I absolutely love this bike. I put 1,000 miles on it since I got it, and I've only had it a couple of weeks. Every motorcycle friend I've showed this bike to says how much they love the bike. They say how awesome looking it is and how great it looks. So, yeah. So if you're trying to decide between the Z900RS or the ZRX1100, I would still choose the ZRX1100. The amount of money you're going to save right off the bat in difference in price, you can put towards, you know, having to pay whatever you have to pay to clean out the carburetors once a year. On these bikes, you really got to stay away from that ethanol gas. You really, on any carbureted bike, you really should be putting non-ethanol gas in it. If not, you're kind of asking for problems. You're asking for there to be issues. But that's pretty much it. The worst thing you can do to a carbureted motorcycle is not ride it. And that's a testament to my old Kawasaki, the one I'm restoring. I mean, I put, you know, a crap ton of miles on it. You know, I put 65,000 miles on that bike without ever once cleaning out the carburetors. I never once had a float needle valve stick. And ironically, that was towards the later days of it, that was running ethanol. So, I mean, I bought that bike in like 98 or something. So, if you have a carbureted bike, the worst thing you could do is not ride it. And in my opinion, the second worst thing you can do is to put ethanol gas in it. To me, that's just, you're asking for problems. So, I hope this video was helpful in making a decision if you're looking for a decision. When I was looking at this bike, I couldn't find a video like this. I looked, so I figured I would put out one to try to help people. So that's what my bike looks like. And then it needs work, and it needs cosmetic stuff. But that's it. So I'll talk to you guys later.